Greetings, members one and all of the Salivation Nation. As we peer into the precious metal prices for today, they are up ever so slightly. Not that that has anything to do with the big news of the day, and that is that there is a huge bank that is not going to be dealing in precious metals anymore. Let's explore! Yes, that's right. Scotia Bank is to close its metals business. Several members of the community made me aware of this particular story here. This is from the financialpost.com. It is Canada's third largest bank, and it has a history that stretches to 1684. And it was the world's biggest lender to the physical precious metals industry. But not anymore. You may have even seen some bars and some rounds with this logo on it. Bank of Nova Scotia is closing its metals business, a division whose origins date back centuries and that brought prominence and then lawsuits to Canada's third largest bank. Employees were informed of the decision to shutter the operation during a conference call Tuesday morning, sources told the Financial Post. The size and scope of the division have been scaled down in recent years to reduce risk in the metals business, a source said, on condition that they would not be identified. So anonymity. As a result, the operation was no longer core business. Spokesperson for Scotiabank declined to comment on Tuesday. Reuters news agency, citing sources, said Scotiabank would not take on new business and would wind down its existing activities by around the beginning of 2021. Some staff would be kept on until then, while others would be made redundant. Around 15 people worked in Scotiabank's metals business, Reuters said, about three-quarters of them in precious metals and the remainder in industrial metals. Scotiabank became a big player in metals trading in 1997, when it bought Makata Bullion and Standard Chartered plc. Makata was founded in 1684, and when Scotia bought it, it had 180 employees and 10 different offices around the world in locations including New York, London, New Delhi, Hong Kong, Shanghai, and Singapore. Scotiabank's prominence in the market segment continued to rise, and in 2004 it became the first non-British bank to chair the London gold fixing, a twice-daily setting of a key benchmark price for gold. That year, Scotia's chief executive was photographed proudly holding a gold bar to celebrate the bank's stature. Oh boy, how the great have fallen. But a little more than a decade later, Scotiabank's precious metals operation had become a target of lawsuits in Canada and the U.S., along with a group of international financial institutions that took part in the London gold fixing. In class action lawsuits, the banks, including Deutsche Bank AG, Societe Generale SA, Barclays plc, HSBC plc, and Scotiabank, were accused of manipulating the gold market, which is worth trillions of dollars in trading value per year. Smaller subset, including Scotiabank, was also accused of manipulating the silver market by rigging the daily silver fix. None of the allegations has been proven. The shuttering of Scotiabank's metals division has no bearing on the Canadian lawsuit, according to Kirk Barrett, a partner in Toronto-based Koski Minsky LLP, one of the law firms involved in the case. The action continues, he told the Post in an email Tuesday. The spokesperson for Scotia also declined to comment on the class actions in a separate case in New York, in which a former Scotiabank and Bear Stearns trader in New York pleaded guilty last year to manipulating precious metals markets. Scotiabank's metals division, which had once operations in Europe, Asia, and North America, and for a time sold precious metal products through an online e-store, has been under review for at least a couple of years. It was previously scaled down, reportedly as a result of legal tangles and its performance. Part of the operation were folded into the bank's broader global banking and markets operation, a source said Tuesday. That's very interesting indeed how things are playing out here. Bloomberg News last year reported that Makata name was being dropped from Scotia's metals operations and that the bank was getting out of the business of supplying gold to jewelry industries in Italy and India. There were also reports that the metals division was put on the block, but a sale never materialized. Very interesting. I think it's fascinating to see what's going on here. Another case of at least allegations of manipulation. Trillions of dollars. And that's quite a large amount of money in trading value per year, if this is the case. And the thing is they've lost influence, and now they're out of going to be closing up shop. But the thing is if there's manipulation going on here, or have been going on, you have to keep in mind that manipulation work is a two-way street. Prices can be manipulated up, and they can be manipulated down. And so we have to take that into account where this are, because a lot of people have a feeling on manipulation that prices are being suppressed. And the true value is much more than where it is. But really, that's not the case. For these people that do the manipulating, they don't care about the reputation of the metal that they're trading. They just want to profit from it. They want to make money and do it illegally or unethically or both. And they'll be able to get there. So that is interesting to see. Of course, how will this play out in terms of prices? I don't think it'll have any difference or any effect at all. But who will take its place? What will take its place? It sounds like those gaps have already been filled in because have scaled down for so long here. But it is interesting that being scaled back or being bought out, and the history of the organization being bought by Makata dates back to 1684, and nonetheless, metals trading was such a popular part of what they had done. And again, I don't have any product, but I've seen gold bars with this logo on it. Here's an example of some of the products that they have with their logo on them. And this is a bar with some protective packaging around it. I don't know if assay card would be the correct word for it. Here it is in silver. And then, of course, we also see that they make rounds as well, too. It looks like this case, it's a Valcambi Swiss-produced product here with the Scotiabank logo, Valcambi Suisse, 4/9 fine, 1 ounce, 24 karat. It's pretty interesting to see both the carat and the fineness here. I guess it would be for jewelry. Potentially, this thing could be melted down and put into jewelry. Then you have looks to be a 5-ounce round here, proof like silver round, which is another unique kind of a cool looking product. But these were produced. It's kind of an interesting logo for these particular pieces. And then finally here we have a sort of a block styled, looks like an extruded or cast. I don't know what size this bar is, potentially a kilo or a 100-ounce bar there, but very, very cool indeed. Be kind of cool to have one of these bars. The sharp kind of edges here, whether they're cast or extruded. But none of these pieces, just like people have asked me about the Nova Scotia or the Republic Metals pieces, will they become worth something? And once a business, or Elemental, once they have gone out of business, does that mean their products are going to be worth something? Well, the answer is no. There's so much of this stuff out there, and even though for most of us in our circles, we typically don't buy pieces like this very often, these bars with bank logos on them, but it's like, again, it's not uncommon because I've seen these around, but that does not necessarily mean that they're going to be worth any more money than they already are. So just keep that in mind as you come across these things and feel compelled because of this news story that they're out of business, so therefore no more will be made. Well, there's a lot of them out there already, and just because a company is out of business does not necessarily mean that the products that they have with their logo on it would be worth anything more. But certainly it will be somewhat collectible just because they're not made anymore, but does not necessarily mean that secondary market premiums should necessarily be tied to it. But it is interesting and fascinating, and so there you have it. Interesting news indeed. Thanks again to this being mentioned or submitted to me by several members of the community. And I would like to extend a multitude of gratitude to you all for taking the time to watch, and encourage you to please rate, share, comment, and subscribe.